If you've ever wanted to understand what are the forces that are inside of you that have great control over your states and why you're self-destructive versus why sometimes you're stuck in sloth and passivity and powerlessness, well, this video is going to be for you, because today we're going to be exploring the force that creates monsters and geniuses, the force that creates power and authority, or limitation and inferiority. So let's get into it. First of all, we're going to introduce you to this concept of what we call the daemon. Now, the daemon is a force that represents the power of your own creative authority. In many ways, it's a burning desire to be larger than life. It's a godlike force that is, in a way, wanting to integrate and have power over the world, control, to have skill, to be able to be somebody who expresses greatness in the actual world. Now, this is expressed throughout history through many great figures, many great heroes of different types. You could say Alexander the Great was an example of this, or Achilles was even a mythological figure that was an inspirational hero that had the influence over Alexander the Great. You could say Alexander the Great also inspired men like Julius Caesar or other great warriors and warlords and conquerors that were part of the old world. Even these old leaders like Caesar inspired other characters like Napoleon. Now, if we look at it through the lens of history, we see that history is riddled with all of these different figures of heroic masculinity. Now, heroic masculinity doesn't always mean good. It doesn't always mean wholesome. It doesn't always mean the right thing for all people. But ultimately, heroic masculinity is driven by a desire for greatness. It's driven by a heroic destiny of capabilities and empowerment. So even characters in our modern context that are drawing us into the future, characters like Elon Musk or like great presidents, are all examples of these type of heroic figures. Now, ultimately, these type of ambitious people create a sense of empowerment inside their life. Ambitious men seeking ambitious ends, following heroic mythologies, internal symbol systems and landscapes that are striving for excellence, that are looking for glory in the world. This is something that existed through history as a state of meritocracy. To be a great man, to be a great leader, to be a great warrior, to be a great, capable Renaissance man. Even in all castes of individuals inside of those traditions, there was a focus of greatness. There was a focus of artistic skilled merit that was embedded into the culture. That excellence and pride in your work and pride in your capabilities to be a hero of your own domain and your own art was something to be appreciated, worshipped. Just the same, it's something that we carried forward into our modern day through our movies, through our TV shows. But sadly, in a way, since we've projected those things outside ourselves into video games, into movies, into these more watered down versions of how and what it means to be a hero, we've become abstracted to our own heroism. We've become secondary to our own potential. And in a way, our culture now is like a watered down, hero-less projection of things that are inoffensive, things that are placid and domesticated. And in many ways, this is like a culture without the fire of that hungry spirit that wants to grow and to be ambitious. And without ambition, it leaves the population feeling uninspired. It leaves people vulnerable to authoritarianism, manipulation of systems, control, authorities of darkness, and wills that come from deeper places that are not ambitious for the reason of creating greatness in the world, but are ambitious for dominion over the world. Now, in some sense, the resolution to this is to bring the focus back to becoming a man that's focused on his spiritual, physical, mental, emotional enlightenment, his peak, best form of self. We could call this daemon maxing. We could call this building a masculine frame. And in some sense, what I wish to share with you is this deeper frame of being inside of yourself, coming from an emergent power inside of you. And if you're in contact with that emergent power, that sense of desire for enlightenment and eternal connection to something bigger than yourself, then you're on the track of greatness. Now, if you fail to follow this path of seeking the flame of your own self-actualization, of your own individuation and materialization of your highest being, if you fail to walk the path of self-initiation and integration, then you will automatically be on the path of egoism and self-destruction and falling into unconsciousness. Now, the choice that we really have, as Nietzsche once wrote, is that as great men, we need to move forward like explosions that are overflowing, not preserving ourselves, not trying to hold back spending ourselves. Now, this explosive energy needs to be regulated and focused. It needs to be guardrailed and put into a series of practices and checks and balances that can create great things in the world, that can create great visions and great art, as opposed to creating twisted hearts and monstrous minds and being under the dominion of forces that, if uncontained, leave us misdirected on a path of destruction, on a path of pain. Now, this is a common theme that we see in the world around us in our time. Look at a lot of young men. They are addicted to this idea, wanting to become the best that they can be so that they can have power and dominion and control. They want to be greatly successful from a young age, to be great billionaires, to be just like those heroes in Wall Street that are stealing money from people on a daily basis, that are taking value from the world, these young, hungry wolves that are out to destroy everything. The Wolf of Wall Street movie was an example. Now, if you're here to take and to manipulate and to be somebody that's only here for his own validation, then the tendency is that you're going to become corrupted by those forces. There's a natural tendency for young men to be somewhat corrupted, to take on power and to be led astray, hopefully to find their way back to what the truth of themselves actually is. But without the great focus and support of healthy models of masculinity and healthy nervous systems and healthy mentors, then these young men fall into a type of hedonistic, self-destructive, self-obsessive, fuck you lifestyle. Waking up in a way where they're only there to just get what they can from the world, taking what they can from everybody, manipulating the world in a way that might have great ferocity, it might have great power, it might be showing some great skill or great intelligence, but ultimately it's an unregulated warrior force. It's a young warrior with no heart, no love, no meaning, a fire so hot that it destroys everything. Now, this leads to sickness, it leads to addiction, it leads to burnout. And ultimately, if you're not careful, it leads to a type of self-destruction. And this is also why we see a lot of young men losing themselves in this process, not knowing what to do or how to operate as a result of this. Now, this is a shadow that we need to deal with. It's a shadow that comes from lack of integration with the heart. Now, if you have great ambition, if you have fire, which I hope that you do, then you need to balance that with humility. You need to balance that with some soul, with some ability to be with yourself in peace, in the cool softness of the soul, of being able to let go and to be humbled. This is why meditation is so key. This is why spending time alone is so key. At the same time, if you're somebody who has a lot of restlessness, who has maybe trauma in the past, it's going to be very hard There's so much fire that wants to get out there into the world and wants to express itself through the mind, through the emotions, through the addictions, through the pleasures of life. Now, this is going to require that you be aware that this is a tendency. If this is your tendency, it's going to require that you understand that the heart is the key to coming home to yourself. If it's not checked with some sense of balance, creates a great rigid ego. It creates an inflated sense of self that without that feminine internal core of softness, of love, of soul power, of heartfelt connectedness, then it leaves men isolated, rigid, brittle, destructive, controlling. So we need to counterbalance it with the softness, with the connection, with the love. Now, this is where having a relationship with the feminine is also important for a man. You need an internal, powerful relationship of the feminine. Now, a woman can be a very powerful thing, and female energy is a very powerful thing because it can humble that fire. It can bring calmness to that heat. And in many ways, the beautiful thing about women is that they demand presence. They demand to be held and to be contained, and in many ways, to be mastered, to be capable of letting themselves surrender to a man that makes them feel trust. Now, to do that, you need to master your own fire. You need to master your own demonic force, because an unmastered daemon is something that will create all kinds of dramas, including dramas with women, including dramas in relationships, including things getting manipulated inside of yourself. And you either get your fire controlled and possessed and quelled down and turned into something that's less than what it is, so it becomes watered down, just an ember of what it was, or it burns strong and creates a problem of competition, a problem of conflict, a problem of possession and jealousy and control over women, and that's not healthy either way. So the counterbalance of this fiery demonic force is the power of the soul, the power of going into our surrendered state of beingness. This is within every one of us. We have the ability to surrender into the soul. It's a place where we can go into the ocean of relaxation, into the yin, into the calm, and we can start to have active silence, and we can find peace. Now, within every person, there is a war between this fire and this water, between this masculine and this feminine, this king and this queen, this god and this goddess. And it's not even a war, it's a dance. And if we want to build harmony, then we need to be able to recognize that the fire is necessary for building. It's necessary for creating powerful skills and mastery, and it's necessary for purpose. But at the same time, if it's a force that is not subdued, then it creates unchecked tensions. It creates self-destruction. So then we need to build the soul that grows inside of us, that helps us to surrender, to relax, to create space, to heal, to learn, to integrate, to have the stillness, to be in love with the moment. Now, this is the ability to be in content states, providing the power to hold our own vessel of masculinity, providing the power to hold the quest of balance, to be the truth inside of ourselves. Now, how can we do this practically? Well, you can practice it just by understanding there is such a thing as these two forces, these dualities that exist inside the unity of your attention in this moment. And I teach this a lot to my guys. What you can do is you can breathe and you can feel present. And when you breathe in, you can clench and feel the fire and the will and the power. And when you breathe out, you can smile and you can relax and you can connect to the feminine. Just have a yin-yang breath, breathing in, the yang breath, the fire breath, the power of feeling the power of the masculinity, breathing out, relax, calm, the yin breath, the feminine, the calm and the surrender to the soul. Now we go deeper into understanding there's a masculine and a feminine, active and a passive, a fire and a water. Every time you direct your will with intent, every time you take action, every time you use force of construction, you're in a masculine attention. Every time you relax, when you smile, you have playfulness. When you allow the presence of the moment to be what it is without needing to dominate it, control it, possess it, or manipulate it in some way, you are experiencing the feminine. The more you relax and the more you smile, the more you feel good in the body. You can do things like yoga nidra. You could do things like internal states of relaxation and hypnosis, get in contact with the subconscious mind. This is all feminine skills, soul connection skills. You want to get focused with the fire? Take action, exercises, fiery breaths, fire and intention, focus of the mind, learning philosophies and skills of power and intent. That's the masculine side. So moving on, the greatest truth of our mastery is wholeheartedness that comes from devotion to the wholeness of what we are. So true greatness is about wholehearted devotion to a cause larger than ourselves that is ultimately the unity of the great mother, father, God, goddess, yin, yang, fire, water. And with the daemon and the soul together, with the right and the left, with the upper and the lower, integrating into a combined energy of directedness, then we can move in a world where we have much more personal achievement on our side. Now, this is all about being in a healthy relationship with what is. Recognizing that in this moment, this present moment, that there is both an active and a passive. There is a birth and a death. There is a movement and a stillness. There is a form and a formless. This is about having fiery father energy, like a great father that is devoted to his family, is devoted to his growth. Like a great artist that's devoted to his work. Like a great leader that devotes himself to his mission and inspires others. These are all masculine, fiery, daemon intelligences. Now on the flip side, a great mother devotes herself to the nourishment of her family. A great female artist is all about showing the beauty and the wonder and pulling people into the experience of sensuality or the sense of being in the beauty. In many ways, she becomes the subject of the art. She becomes the object of beauty. A great female leader is more like a mother, a nourisher, a giver of life, an inspirer through the passivity of support and nourishment. Now, the principles of these two together creates great manifestations. So if you want to be more powerful as a man, then you have to learn how to channel this power of masculine, feminine, and this power of the daemon in the real world, in true effect. So the journey of raw ambition and integration into mastery is a conscious process. It's something that you can put into a series of steps. You can ritualize it. You can practice it. You can put it into structure. And these are some things that I would suggest in the next bit here. We're going to talk about some rules and some possibilities that will help you to work with this force, have a holistic and healthy relationship with it so you can move with more excellence. So number one, if you want to move with greatness in the world, then you have to fire up your mindset. You have to feed your mind inspiring stories, hero stories, visions, dreams. Think of superheroes, think of the concepts and the archetypes of empowerment. So consuming ideas and stories and visions of being powerful and getting connected to those feelings and those inspiring, powerful characters. That's part of daemon fuel. That's fire fuel to inspire the mind, the spirit of the daemon to be strong, to move forward. Next is to work on getting embodied in that, to breathe, to feel, to move, to relax. I would suggest getting into some martial arts, maybe doing some dynamic movement, some natural movement, doing some inspired movement, or doing some heavy, intense, maybe violent movement, shaking, boxing, moving with dynamism, even with forms of ecstatic dance, expression of movement in a way that gets rid of sloth, gets rid of tiredness, gets rid of stagnation, gets rid of sleepiness, gets rid of the stuckness and the stiffness, so that you can become more of a flowing animal, more of a mover, more of an embodied vessel of strength and will. Next is to find and align yourself to other capable men, to allies, to brothers, to people that you can develop together, to people that you can collaborate with, to people that you can share favors with, that you can share friendship with, that you can talk to, you can listen to, you can give and you can receive with, that you can voyage with. Now, male friendship and brotherhood is one of the most important things that we have in this life because it gives us accountability, hope, and greatness. It gives us something beyond our solitary hopes and dreams, because we can only go so far alone, and no man is an island, and no man, even if he's a great warrior, is a king. A king is only a king because he has a kingdom, he has a tribe, He has a group. He has a relationship with and through and around people that create a higher level of connectedness. Next is to learn to direct your attention and your energy with will and intent. This starts with the focus of mastery of your attention, and then mastering your thought, mastering your will through action. This means learning to start to put your intent into action, to write your plans, to dream, to believe, and to start to act in a way where you are taking your dreams and your actions and your hopes into a way of being that is driven by not just random, unrefined focus. It's driven by a laser will that is fired by instinct, fired by the will of growth and learning to break through, to see the next best step and to believe that you are on a path, to allow yourself to be a hero on the journey, to give yourself the vision and to keep moving forward one step at a time, trusting, believing, and knowing that the process will reveal the next step as your heart believes and knows and reveals your own next best possibility. From internal senses of faith and connection, from internal presence, from dreams and visions comes the external manifestations, the next pathways, the next strategic, functional, physical thing will be revealed in time. And the next thing is to start to practice managing your own capabilities, to overcome your own limitations, addictive habits, those tendencies, those restrictives, that grandiosity, those schemas, these lifestyle habits, the things that hold you back. These are traps. These are energy leaks. These are ways in which you stay stuck in the anti-hero, the anti-self, the anti-vision. And this is about practicing control over your addictions, allowing yourself to have stillness, to have presence, to have creative space, and choosing to be a creator, to work with the power of soul and daemon together. Because the greatest power that you truly have is to be a unity of opposites, to be a bridge between heaven and earth. As we say here, the soul of a Christ and the will of a Caesar. So to be a soulful man connected to his heavenly sense, connected to his inspiration and his intuition, and a willful warrior, a grounded man, a capable man, a worldly man that's able to learn to live, to achieve a relaxed sense of self-actualization. And to do that right now, literally breathe in, smile, clench the PC, and as you smile and you breathe out and you relax, bring fire and water into your heart. Bring masculine and feminine together. Bring peace on earth right here, right now. Master the fire within, master the water within, and forge the greatness through your own internal surrender to unity, to healthy balance, to harmony, working together as one. So I hope that's useful to you guys. I hope you appreciate this journey of becoming a man as the balancer, as the bridge, as the unifier. And this healthy middle point between masculine and feminine, heaven and earth, is really your king state. If you're interested to learn more, reach out to me and we can have a call. I'd love to put you into the work that I do. You can join my school group for free. You can share this work around with your friends. Let's keep growing and showing up. This is the Shae saying peace out, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. What's up, ninjas? Thanks for watching the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this material so that I can keep on growing this amazing channel. And if you'd like to get the help that I can offer, I would like you to check out the link in the description. Go to my website and you will be able to find amazing limited time offers to help you to be able to break through and make the changes that you would really like to have in your life. Until then, this is the Shae saying peace out. May all your dreams come true, and I'll see you guys on the other side.